Welcome to NFL Daily, where we're running it back. I'm Gregg Rosenthal, here with my friend and defending champion of all pickers, Cynthia Frelund. We're in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio for the first time this season picking games.
Woo!
And the first time I can officially congratulate you on not just beating me in this picks competition that we're going to do throughout the course of the season, where we're really teammates because we're going to help out
That's right.
our listeners, but the woman who picked the Super Bowl and the champion before last season started, Eagles over Chiefs. I mean, what other show has someone that has done that on it? Only the shows with Cynthia Frelund.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again, you know?
No, you've got the computer model, you've got it all. That's pretty amazing.
This year I also made the dogs pick because I was curious.
No.
I picked my top 8 from my model, and then I put a snack for each one, and I'll tell you who each dog picked too. I'm going to tell you right now what that is, or I'm going to tease that.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And yes, you can check out like all of Cynthia's picks on her show, Numbers Game, which is on her YouTube channel. She has a new podcast too with Logan Ryan, which is very cool. And you can watch us on NFL Network, Game Day View.
We're back.
Every Friday. We got like new multiple airings. There's like one in the morning on Fridays too. I love it. So you can get all our picks there. But here we pick our 3 favorite selections against the spread of the week, and we will keep track of our records and hopefully help you out. And I will give you the first pick of the year.
Well, the first pick of the year will go to the game that is played the last on the first weekend of the year. Okay. So it is played at Soldier Field, and Minnesota comes to town. And you know Brian Flores, my friend from college. He's got this really good defense. It's real sneaky. They do a lot of weird stuff with like, are you going to blitz? Is it a simulated pressure? What are we going to do? But you know who's not going to be tricked?
Ben Johnson?
That's right.
Caleb Williams?
That's right. I think we get an upset.
Wow.
Starting strong here.
Vikings are favored by 1.5.
And I have the Bears winning.
On the road, and you have the Bears not only covering, but winning.
Outright winner.
Straight up. Not going to be one of my 3 picks, but longtime listeners of the show, and by that I mean last season, which was our first, will remember I write down a lot of picks. I have some scribbles at the bottom of ones that didn't quite make the cut.
I remember the beginning of the season, the scribbles were actually beating
They were on
actuals.
fire, and we're going to keep track of them this year once again.
Scribbles.
But my Vikings pick was one that didn't make the cut, because I personally like the Vikings overall as a team, and this is one thing I think players and people are picking games this week and have to be wary of. Just because I think the Vikings are a better team overall over the course of the season than the Bears, that doesn't mean that they should weaken week 1. And plus, I could be basing it on false assumptions. They might not be better than the Bears over the course of the season. Actually, who does your overall win totals have being better this season?
It has the Vikings.
Okay.
Now, this is a one-time beginning of the season trick play situation. Because in any game, you could in these division rivals, here are my 2 problems with the Vikings that drive the Bears win. Number 1, we've been talking about how the Bears have remade their O-line. We're still questioning who the tackles, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? We don't really talk about the fact that J.J. McCarthy, who's coming back from injury, played like a hot second in a pregame. He's a rookie without being a rookie, right? And he gets a new O-line too, and they're remade, and we don't know if they're great. They could be, but we don't know. We haven't seen it either. So I'm not sold on what that O-line, and no Jordan Addison. Yeah, we have Adam Thielen that came back to town, but he came back to town last week. You telling me that chemistry is going to be fully formed already? Your girl says Ben Johnson has enough tricks in his bag to make this one better for Caleb Williams.
You're making me worried.
You've
got some numbers that are probably put into the big model that support that Ben Johnson had Brian Flores' number. Like, you can look at all the great stats of the Vikings over the last few years. Imagine how great they'd be if you took out those Lions game, because the Lions were averaging about 30, 35 points a game on it. I looked hoping for, backing up my pick the other way, and it was the opposite.
Yeah.
They cooked them game after
But
game.
over the course of the season, I have the Vikings finishing ahead of the Bears.
Okay.
I just think this is the week 1. It's week 1. Let's have overreactions. This is one I think.
Okay, I'm starting out spicy.
Ooh, I started spicy.
I'm going with
an upset. Wasn't spicy enough for you?
That was very spicy.
Okay.
I'm not saying I wasn't making a judgment on your pick. I'm just saying.
God, we're in mid-season form already, Greg.
I'm going Giants +6 against the Commanders on the road this week. I looked at this game and I was tempted to just pick an upset. It just week 1 is a liar very often. It's crazy. and it just wouldn't shock me if the Giants come out and win this game. But getting 6 points, it just set off alarm bells. A division game, which is off these two staffs that, they got to know each other a little bit last year. And the only one that I think notably improved their defense, maybe overall team in my mind, is the Giants. And then I looked at last year, and those were two of the games, for what it's worth, that Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones had two of their best games of the season in terms of EPA per play. I think two of their three best games of the season were against Washington. I remember those games well. The Giants moved the ball well. In neither of those games last year did the Commanders cover 6 points. They were close games, and ultimately, I think the Giants improved more this offseason. I don't think the gap between them over the course of the season is as big as all the statistical models have. So I could be very wrong. Maybe yours disagrees with me, but they have Washington backing up their season from a year ago. I think the Giants are going to be much better. I think the Commanders are going to be worse, and so I'm going Giants.
I think the Giants are going to be a team that ends up last in their division, that we're like, this team is so much better than because their schedule is a freaking nightmare.
It is.
We've
brutal.
talked about that since May when the schedule released, when we had this giant schedule release show. Woo, the schedule's out. Anyways, but we've been talking about it since then. And I agree with you that they've gotten considerably better. My problem right now is I'm looking at the injury report and I'm seeing Andrew Thomas.
He is there, yes.
Again, it starts. What's going on with this O-line? That is just where I have some fear there, and that's what keeps me from. I'm with you. Like 6 feels like that's an annoying number. Like if it were a different number, I'd feel differently about it. But I feel like they could keep it closer. I just feel like I've seen this playbook before, where the Giants have a really good defensive front, but then the O-line is like a big question mark. And is Malik Neighbors' injury real? Like, is it going to actually
Hey, don't freak me out here. Andrew
I'm not
Thomas.
freaking out. I just don't like when I see when I've had O-line questions and I see an O-line questionable to play. That's a big deal. It just makes me like.
He is maybe the most important player on the entire team, Andrew Thomas. I totally agree with that, and he's coming back from a really serious injury, and we don't know for sure that he's playing this week. It sounded like it was trending in the right direction. I'm not totally afraid of the Commanders' pass rush.
Dicey.
But it's definitely
dicey.
A little dicey. What I'm counting on is Abdul Carter and Brian Burns in that pass rush getting after.
I mean, that's going to be great.
The Commanders, but they've added Laramie Tunsil to the mix, and they've added a first-round pick, so that in Josh Connerly. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Let's go to your second pick.
Okay. I think you and I are on the opposite sides of this game, but the Sunday nighter.
Okay.
I think Buffalo wins.
Wow, that's one of your 3.
Mm-hmm.
How did you choose which of these 3 to pick?
I asked someone with really good hair.
Because
the guy with the good hair. The guy with the good hair. I'm like, week 1, I don't have any. You know what's weird is like I try to every year got to clean the slate. I don't have any preconceived notions about any teams this year. Try to go in with like, what do the facts say? Who are they objective? Like, because obviously we all have things that we like and we don't like. We have people we like and we don't like. So I try to like really just wash that all away. I do like the Bills. I like the Ravens too, though. So I'm here. I'm here.
But a home underdog that the Bills are right now. The line has
underdog.
Flipped. Yes.
Yeah.
It's 1.5 for the Ravens right now. It started out as the Bills as a slight favorite.
And now, why do I think the Bills? Well, one, I really think that the ability to control the ball. Usually we talk about Baltimore, we're talking about ball control offense. Well, I'm actually thinking the Bills might take that tact this time.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen himself, 27 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. That's a lot. That's a lot of them. And I'm looking, I was watching the O-line play. That's one of the only things from preseason that you can sort of see. I think Osiris Torrance might be even better than he was. I think this O-line is good. I don't know who the offensive pass catchers that they're really going to have to, this Ravens defense is going to have to account for. Who are they scared of?
Coming off an injury. Sounds like he'll play. But
but are you...
Keon Coleman has had a good camp, but
I saw him pop up on the injury report too. So, but maybe some of that, we've seen this before where Josh Allen, you're like, I don't know who he's going to throw to. And then suddenly it's like Josh Allen in a cloud of dust, but 7 points or 6 points.
We'll see how this goes. All I'm saying, Cynthia, is you picked the freaking Super Bowl and not only that, the champion with an Eagles team last year that, if people remember, going into the year was not a popular pick whatsoever, not just to represent the NFC, but even to make it far in the playoffs. So you've done that. You did great with your picks a year ago, and you're giving our producer. You're mentioning Chris with the great hair in the back.
Chris has great hair.
22 years old. He's rocking the
I don't know if Chris has a girlfriend, but if you were going to get a girlfriend based on lettuce, Chris would be like top of the heap.
Okay, he's got the floppy
I
hair.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, you know, but he's not like a football expert at this point. You are, Cynthia. And you've got all your picks.
But
and you hand it over to him and ask him what he likes out of that.
I gave him all the numbers. I gave him all the numbers. I stand by all. I love all of my picks.
Okay, in week 1, I'll buy that. I want
just week
Cynthia
one, and
picking out her favorites.
We've been thinking about this for so freaking long. We've had this week 1 slate, and then Micah Parsons, and then everyone loses their mind and picks Green Bay to win the Super Bowl. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. Like, all right, let's actually do the math and relax here.
Ooh.
And then everybody Did you pick the Packers?
No.
God, I hope so.
I did not pick.
God,
the
I hope you
Packers,
did.
For the season or for this week. Let's just go there now.
Okay.
One of my 3 favorite picks.
Oh dear God!
Because
I'm gonna have to hide under the table.
I stayed away from trying to get too into these week 1 lines. I pretty much looked at them fresh for the first time recently. I think I had a vague idea who's playing, but I didn't know the lines. When I saw that the Lions, your Lions,
Roar.
are 2.5-point underdogs to the Green Bay Packers, and then I thought about the last 4 years. Hey, who said your whole era of Favre to Rodgers is over? You think you're going to go win another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers? No. How about we beat you in week 18 in a game that supposedly didn't even matter to us to end that whole Aaron Rodgers era? How about that? We're the Detroit Lions. How about the one time you beat us? And I don't know if people remember this. The one time the Packers beat them recently, and the Lions have won 6 out of 7. The one time they beat them recently, Matt LaFleur in the post game, I think it was on NBC or something. I think it was Thanksgiving. He got all
Right, it was.
He got all like chesty of like, hey, people saying we're not tough enough, that we're not a tough team, like we're tough and we ran the ball. Like I felt in that moment, it always stuck with me that he was sort of like his masculinity was threatened by Dan Campbell, and he didn't like that the Lions, or maybe just he felt like his team's masculinity was threatened by the Lions getting pushed around. Hey, we're the tough guys. You know what's happened since then? They haven't won another game. They got swept last year too, while the Lions were all sorts of banged up. I love it. I just think the Lions are a better team, and they have a real track record here against this Packers team.
I think recency bias sometimes afflicts people, and because I will say, I'm going to put Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator, on the short list of guys who come the end of the season will be like, who's getting a new head coaching job?
0-2 against the Lions, though, to be fair.
I'm just saying in general,
Yeah.
Jeff Hafley, I think he did a good job of reconfiguring the defense in a way that, they were second in simulated pressure, so they're doing some modern things to help out. They won't have to simulate some pressure this year once Micah's back, or his back's okay. Like vertebrae, epidurals, these things sound very, very scary to me, but I'm just saying in general, we remember the Lions also got a lot of their pieces back as well. One named Aiden Hutchinson. Just a reminder, it's not like the Lions are going to be playing without. The end of the season, they were playing with like 19 people on IR.
Right. The Packers got Parsons, but the Lions got Hutchinson.
And the Lions also got back people that know each other, have played together. Micah just came in the building, and he rotates in. He's not a down-to-down player. So it's just going to, I think it takes a hot second for everything to come together. I understand defense easier. Go get ball. I understand the mission statement of Micah Parsons' position, but I think in general, it is a bit more complicated than that for how the whole defense works together. And they still have corners that are Jair Alexander ain't walking through that door. He as good as we saw Xavier McKinney be last year with all of his turnovers aren't necessarily there's some luck involved in there. You can't say year over year that just because they had a lot of interceptions last year, they're going to get a lot of interceptions. That's not how that works. So, I'm just saying, to me, you have to remember, offense plays the defense. Offense plays the defense. You don't. It doesn't work. When they say quarterbacks play, I'm like, no, they don't.
Right. Well, but then when
though.
you hear quarterbacks talk, they always say when I'm playing that quarterback, I'm watching him and I know I got to play better that day, like Joe Burrow. So they get it in their own head that they're going.
They get it in their head, but they're not facing them.
Right. I think the Lions defense is going to be significantly better than a year ago. But I'm glad you brought up the cornerback position for the Packers. So Nate Hobbs, he's coming off of an injury. He was their big free agent signing.
Is he all right?
Right. He's, I think, going to play in this game, but he's barely practiced over last month.
That's what I'm saying.
Keyshawn Nixon, he's okay. I think the other starting cornerback for this team, like the nickel is Javon Bullard, Carrington Valentine is still there. It's like, it's not a great group, whereas I actually like the Lions on defense more. And that all gets me to the point that I really wanted to make about this game, because I do feel strong. This will probably be my number one pick. I just think that it's the right time. Like, they're getting them at the right time of the season.
Yes,
you think of all the
100%.
injuries that
100%.
like, this is the week to play them.
This is the week that you have to.
All the injuries that they had. They had no receivers on the field like throughout training camp, and they all are coming back. I don't think Jaden Reed necessarily is.
What is
they didn't
who's
practice.
healthy?
And then you know who practices harder than any team and always comes out really strong early? It's the Detroit Lions. Like, I heard this story from Colton Pouncey, who covers The Athletic, about like Tim Patrick. He was in his first camp with the Lions, and he was like, man, like, they like Brian Branch is coming out here like hitting, like, I just think they run a tougher camp. I think they're often very ready for week one. We saw them. Did they beat the Chiefs? Or
they did.
They beat the Chiefs in week one. Like,
coming off a Super Bowl. Remember, it was the opener when the last time. Anyways,
whereas the Packers are not that team that practices tackling as much, plays in the preseason. So I also think it's just a perfect time, and the Lions overall are a little healthier.
I think this game is a huge deal maker. Like, everyone's like, the Packers are going to win the division. The Packers win the Super Bowl. Like, the Packers win total went up one whole game to surpass the Lions. And on one person being traded. I'm like, wait. If they play each other week one, that game matters a lot. It does. Is it really? Anyways, point being is I'm as a Lions fan, I am beholden by, everything that is Michigan in the world to say, like, I have fear in my heart, and I have fear, but I think that this.
But your model,
my model says the Lions win.
Okay, I love that too.
Yeah.
So you agree with me. All right, let's do one more pick.
Yeah, okay.
Your last one.
Okay. Where are you on Tampa Bay and Atlanta? Because I have Tampa Bay winning this one.
That is one of many where I don't have a strong feeling, but I did take Tampa Bay. I bet I
by more than 2.
Well,
1.5.
I would have them covering. I'm with you on that. It wouldn't. That one just seems like such a crazy matchup that I'd be afraid. But you're going with a lot of the tough games.
Well, one of the reasons that this game to me would have probably been on my list, even if I didn't allow the best hair.
Outsource it. If this works, then we can think about the strategy more seriously. If it doesn't, he takes the blame. So it works that way.
Well, no, I mean, listen, we put out all our picks. Anyways.
Yes.
But when I'm looking at the Bucs in a week one, to me, it comes down to who do I trust at quarterback more? And I trust Baker Mayfield. Now, I know Tristan Wirfs isn't there. I would prefer him to be there. And usually my model loves the strategy of like doubling down in a position. And they kind of tripled down on pass rush to draft Jalen. Like they drafted it like 15, 26, whatever. They drafted 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's weird because my stuff doesn't love James Pierce.
Also, they're not listed as starters right now. Jalen Walker had a slow camp.
Weird. So I think that's an advantage, especially when you consider on the other side, Caleb McGarry not being there. That's a problem.
It's a big one.
And Michael Penn. Still think Bijan's going to have a nice game for your fantasy purposes. Do not worry. But I think that this one belongs to the quarterback that has the track record and the defensive mind, meaning the defensive coach, meaning Todd Bowles, that can stop the things they're trying to throw at him.
I'm with you. I think they're going to have a defensive improvement this year. The Bucs did not have a great season last year. I think the roster, I think Todd Bowles, it's all going to be better. You almost want Kirk Cousins in this game. He was so good against the Buccaneers a year ago. I mean, he had like 500-something yards. So I'm with you on that. But you're bold. You're taking some of the ones I'd be most afraid to take.
Let's go.
My third pick.
Fortune favors the bold, Greg.
I'm going Jaguars.
Go bigger than that. Who cares about the Jags over the Carolina Panthers? Come on.
Dude, what does that even mean? They're all
bigger.
Every pick is equal. There is no bigger. I feel good about it. Jaguars minus 3.5 is my pick. You're not going to bully me. The point is to get them right. It's not to like pick like games that the most people are going to watch. Now, the only thing that bothers me here is this was 3 all week. And when we sat down to do that.
That hook will get you.
I saw it went to 3.5, but I don't care. I just think they're a way more complete team. I think they have way more defensive line talent, and I think they have ultimately
feels like you're being a bully.
Way more guys in the secondary. Why is that being a bully? It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. They haven't won a lot of games over the last couple of years, but I do
Brian
think
Thomas Jr. on that team.
They're going to unveil Travis Hunter, and you just look at the defensive talent overall for the Panthers, and I just don't think it stacks up. When I looked at these two depth charts, I think there's a lot of mismatches. The Jaguars are a team I think is going to be great this year in terms of versus like their win total, for instance. I really like their over 7.5. So I'm going to stay consistent. Go Jaguars.
Okay.
Dude, what does that even mean? Go bigger? Like what's
just
bigger?
Want like one where you're like it's a little more like a juicier line. Like there's a lot of close lines this week. So like maybe like what's one that's in the just give me one that's in the little scribble.
Okay,
just a bonus that we won't
cut
it on your.
We did our three,
bonus.
and
we did our three.
We might keep track, but some of the other ones that were interesting. I just like getting points in week 1 because I just think it's so unpredictable.
Sure, but
so
it's still worth the same number of points if it's game 1 or 2-7.
I know, but I think in week 1, everything is based on faulty information.
It is.
Which
that's
is
why you
old
can
information.
That's why
which is why I'll just take points. Right? Because like to me it's unpredictable, but I know what those points are worth. For instance, the Saints are 6.5 point underdogs, and the Browns are 5.5 point underdogs. 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. They're written down as my extra picks. I would take them both at home against teams with some weaknesses. The Browns are playing the Bengals.
Yep.
And
so you think they're going to win or lose by less than
5.5 for the Browns, and then the Saints. I just feel like that's a lot to give the Cardinals. I feel a little less sure about that, but I'd rather just take it. It's week 1. It's home. I like those 2.
The Saints one is tricky. Is a sneaky good one to me because I think everyone has slept on Alvin Kamara a lot this past when I was doing some fantasy drafts, he was available to me in a round that felt ridiculously low, like 4 or 5. I'm like, why are we all sleeping on him so much? Because I'm just curious if he somehow is not the guy who was second to Jahmyr Gibbs in terms of number of rushing attempts and pass catches last season. I did somehow his coach, who pretty sure Kellen knows how to deal with great running back situation. Just Saquon might have a little something to say about that. But point being
Love
is
that.
I just don't see where. So I'm with you. And plus, I saw them firsthand against the Broncos. Was there for preseason. Okay, it's preseason. We get it. But I don't think they're as bad as it seems. I understand when you don't have a quarterback and you don't name your starting quarterback until a week before the game, it seems a little dicey. But Alvin's
it's just a lot of points, a lot of uncertainty.
It's a lot of points.
So I like those 2. I like the Jets giving up 3 points to the Steelers. I mentioned the Vikings. I'm on the other side. The one that was the closest to making my top 3 was the Dolphins.
Let's talk about this.
Let's
talk about this. Yeah.
I
don't do mess, baby.
Fast
I don't
track.
do mess.
Well, but they're both mess.
No. I don't do mess.
Okay.
Right now, who's playing? Are we sure? Like, is Devon Achane okay? Messy. And remember, I love me some Mike McDaniel, but when it comes to lying liar who lies, he comes from the tree of lying liar who lies. It's Kyle Shanahan. So he right now questionable. Tyreek Hill questionable. What are they gonna play? Would you feel differently if it was a half Devon Achane, half
McDaniel's indicated he feels good about Tyreek. It sounds pretty good on Achane. I do love their pass rush on a fast track.
I'm saying I like
against
their pass
Daniel
rush too.
Jones, and I actually trust their offensive line over the Colts, where there's some new players, some uncertainty. In general, this is the Bad Vibes Bowl we talked about on our preview show.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I like the way that the Dolphins have started the last few seasons, and I kind of just like them in this spot, having a one week win. So that's it. To review our main
review
the ones that matter. I have the Giants +6. I have your Lions +2.5. And I have the Jaguars as a favorite over Carolina. And you went with the Bills at home
the Bears
as a home underdog. The Bears at home as a slight home underdog. And the Bucks on the
I only
road
like
as
B's
a favorite.
today.
And yeah, my extra picks.
Bills, Bears, Bucks. Bills, Bears,
if you
Bucks.
were
Bills,
curious,
Bears, Bucks.
I like the Dolphins, Browns, Jets.
I'm going Colts, baby.
Those are a little extra.
Come on, Colts fans. Help me out here.
We are going to be doing this every week.
We are.
I can't wait. Numbers Game is the podcast, is the YouTube channel for Cynthia Frelund. Please check her out there, her new podcast with Logan Ryan. Also check out, we're doing a live post-game pod for the Friday night Brazil game. So if you're listening to this, it's in a few hours. Come check out, join us live. Me and Nick Shook. Football's so back.
It's back.